Welcome back to Lockyer Learning Lab, and today we're going to be carrying on with gerunds and infinitives and looking at those two lists, okay? So get ready and remember to subscribe. It's all totally free, you don't have to pay anything, so just subscribe and then you're going to get those lessons each week. That's going to really help you. I mentioned before that there are two lists. Some verbs are followed by the gerund and some verbs are followed by the infinitive. So we're going to have a look at these and I'm going to try and help you to get your head around this because it is a little bit tricky. You're probably saying, oh, come on Alice, are there any rules for this? Because you'd love to have some rules. Well, there's one little rule for when to use the gerund. Okay, one little rule is that if it's a verb that's expressing like or dislike, then it's followed by the gerund. Okay, so that kind of helps you a little bit. We've got some examples here, like I like traveling abroad, I hate working nights, I enjoy living in the countryside. So these are all verbs connected to whether you like something or not. Unfortunately, there are a lot of other verbs that there isn't really a rule for, and you just have to learn them, okay? Here are a few, okay? We've got things like avoid, deny, look forward to. I've given you later a longer list in the video. Let's just look at these. So you should avoid eating high-fat food. So with that verb avoid, it's followed by the gerund, yeah, eating. The people denied breaking the window. He said he didn't break the window, okay? So denied takes the gerund. And I look forward to seeing you, okay? This is a nice expression actually for letters. If you're doing the first certificate, you can put that in your letter. It's very nice. So again, all of these are followed by the gerund, all right? But you'll just have to look at the list. And maybe, you know, I always tell my students, I know it's kind of old-fashioned to get your notebook out, but actually it's quite good for you to write things down physically, because I think it helps it kind of fix it in your mind if you do that. So then, are there any rules about the infinitive? Which verbs are followed by the infinitive? There's one kind of rule, a bit of a vague rule, but it's when the verbs are kind of connected to the future. So an example of this would be, we arranged to meet outside the cinema, okay, because that's kind of like a future arrangement. I expect to pass the exam, like next week or next month. My brother is planning to study abroad next year. So all of these are kind of related to the future. So that's one little rule that you can remember. Unfortunately, there are a lot of other verbs that don't really follow that rule, but you'll have to remember them. Again, I've put a longer list later on in the video. So we've got things like agree, decide, learn, all right? So I've agreed to help my dad with the garden this week. So agreed takes the infinitive, to help. My nephew has decided to drop out of university, okay? So he's not a very good student and he's gonna stop studying. My daughter is learning to drive, okay? Learning to do something. Now, we're going to look at something else, which is a group of verbs which can be followed by the gerund and the infinitive. And some of these have a different meaning and some have the same meaning. So let's look at some examples. The first one is, I started to study English last year, and I started studying English last year. Now, both of these are correct. Do they mean the same or different? Well, in this case, they actually mean the same. You can use both here. So that's a nice one. You don't have to worry about which one to use. They're both correct, all right? There are a few other examples of those, okay? Now, let's have a look at the next one, which is, Gloria went on working after the office closed. Marta went on to work as a prestigious lawyer. Now, these ones, do you think they're the same or different? Went on with the gerund or went on with the infinitive? Well, these two are different, okay? She went on working means that she continued working when the office had closed. And the second one is she went on to work. It's like she stopped one thing and did another thing. So she went on. First of all, maybe she was like just an intern in an office or in a lawyer's firm of lawyers. And then later on, you know, she was really successful and she changed and she became a prestigious lawyer. Okay, so that's when something changes. Then we've got, I regret to tell you, you have failed the exam. Oh dear. Yeah, and I regret buying a flat next to a main road. Now, these two are also different. So in this one, you've got to think about what thing happens first. So what happens first? Do you regret or do you tell the person that they failed the exam? Well, in the first one with the infinitive, first you regret, okay? And then you tell the candidate that they failed the exam, yeah? In the second one, I regret buying a flat next to a main road. First, what did you do? First, you bought the flat, and then afterwards you thought, oh, how stupid, I shouldn't have bought that flat, it's really noisy. Okay, so the order of those actions is different. Okay, so that's what you have to remember there. Then, I remember to give Ramon the money. I remember giving Sarah the money. Okay, now here it's similar to the regret one, all right? So you've got to think, which one did you do first? Okay, so I remembered to give Ramon the money. Did you remember first or give him the money first? Here, you remembered and then you gave him the money. But in the second one, I remember giving Sarah the money. So this means that here you gave Sarah the money and now you are remembering that action. Maybe Sarah says, oh, you didn't give me the money. And you said, no, I remember giving Sarah the money because we were in the park and I remember we were sitting on the bench and I gave her the money. So I remember that moment of giving her the money. So first you gave her the money and then afterwards you remembered that action. Then the teacher helped me to do the exercise. I couldn't help laughing when my brother fell in the river. The first one, okay, so you assist someone. Okay, the teacher assisted me with the exercise. Okay, she sat down with me and gave me some assistance. And I couldn't help laughing. This is when it's kind of impossible for you not to laugh. It's like an involuntary action. And, you know, it was a very funny situation. You felt a bit bad because your brother fell in the river and he got wet, but you just were like, ha, ha, ha. It was a kind of involuntary action. Then we've got my car needs repairing. You need to work harder. So my car needs repairing. Now, who is going to repair your car? Is it going to be you or maybe a mechanic? This is a kind of passive, all right? So it's you need to take your car to the garage and have it repaired. So my car needs repairing. And in the second one, you need to work harder is active, okay? So here, it's necessary for you to work harder. I've made some little lists that are a bit longer to show you which words take the gerund, which words take the infinitive. So you've got those here, and I'm just going to sort of like flash through those. So the first ones are with the gerund. Okay, maybe you want to stop the video, write them down. Then you've got the ones that take the infinitive. The lists are longer in reality, but what I've done is I've just taken the most important ones for you at this stage, okay? Because we don't want to overload you and you'll just be like in crisis saying, oh my goodness, I can't do this, it's too much. And then I've also given you the ones that take the bare infinitive. I mentioned those in the last session, the ones like typical ones that are modal verbs, also make and let. So you can write those down as well. There's one other little thing you need to remember. There are also some verbs which are followed by the infinitive and they need a direct object. So these are verbs like advise, ask, encourage. Okay, I've given you a little list here. For example, the doctor advised me to rest for a few days. Okay, so we've got advised and it takes the infinitive, but we have to put a pronoun in the middle there. The security guard ordered us to leave the premises and my dad warned us not to swim out too deep. Okay, so just be careful. There's a few verbs that need a direct object. After that, I've given you a couple of exercises, all right? So you've got a gap fill exercise and you've also got transformations, okay? So I want you to do those. You can look at the answers after you've looked at those. So I will see you next week. Goodbye.